And we're live. Welcome to Cleveland Business Live, episode 25. I'm Lisa Cole with eXp Realty. And if you want to connect with me on anything real estate or to be a guest on the show, just go to lisacole.work, and that's the best way to connect. But today I'm super excited to have my guest with me, Kahrin Spear. Kahrin is a very talented musician and videographer, and I'm so excited to have you today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So your dad introduced us. Thank you, John, wherever you are. And I'm so happy he did, because I just was checking out all of your work and your Instagram page and everything like that, and your story. It's so interesting. So I would love for you to start off by sharing, who you are and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Kahrin. I graduated from John Carroll in May of 2019, so last year, and I graduated with an international business and Spanish degree, and quickly realized when I graduated that I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, what I was going to do with that degree. And so I kind of just took my whole life and threw it into the air and traveled all over the US for about 3 months. And while I was on the road, I really felt like deep inside that God or the universe or something was calling me to telling stories through videography, music, and writing. So when I came home this time last year in August, I put my last little bit of money that I didn't blow traveling down on an apartment in downtown Cleveland, and just started building this videography business without really knowing what I was doing. I didn't have any experience. I didn't have any education in it. It just kind of worked out slowly but surely, just connecting with people and trying to attract as many clients as I could. And a year later, and I'm still kicking. So
Wow, that is awesome. And so when you were traveling, what made you start traveling, and what were you just staying with friends around the country, or were you just
Yeah, great question. I was working in a job that I loved the company, but I wasn't, the work wasn't aligning. And I had a friend that I grew up with that I hadn't talked to in like 8 years, reach out and be like, hey, a couple of friends and I are going on a cycling trip down the East Coast. Do you want to join us? I was like, I don't even have a bike, but yeah.
Bicycling or motorcycling?
Like bicycling.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I had never, I didn't even own a bike, but I agreed. And I thought it'd be a good idea for me to just kind of start fresh and get a clear head, because when you're on your bike, there's nothing else you can think about. You're just like focused, and you're in your element.
Right.
So I did 2 weeks down the East Coast with them, and then came home for about a week. And then I took off again with one of my best friends from college. Her and I started this project our senior year in our spring semester called Ode to JCU. We both went to John Carroll. And it was essentially this movement about celebrating moments and using those moments to connect your community together, and realize that we're all in the same place, but we look at our experience from different perspectives, and like kind of uniting those perspectives to create this beautiful image of what was our 4 years here. So we decided Ode could live outside of John Carroll. So we took it on the road for 5 weeks and kind of just camped, lived out of our car, lived in hostels, and just tried spreading joy and spreading gratitude and celebration around. So, yeah.
I love it. And then, so now you're back home in Cleveland, and you're in Lakewood now, right?
Yes.
Love it. And now you're doing a lot of different kind of work, branding. So we talked about, you're getting into the wedding videography portion of things, where if anybody mentions this broadcast, you get 50% off of your video for your wedding. So definitely contact Kahrin and check her website out, because really, she's just very talented, and musically as well. So you have beautiful songs, and you perform lovely. So now you're performing at Italian.
Yeah. So I got connected. I play music and yoga classes a lot. That's kind of where I found a little bit of a niche with music, at least in the Cleveland scene. And
you broke up a little bit. You said where did you find the niche?
Playing music in yoga classes.
Oh, that's right. Because I think you did at Harmony once. I don't think I made that one, but I think, yeah. So
Yes. Yeah, I used to play at Harmony a lot. And then some of the instructors from there that I formed a relationship with, I just started doing independent, they started doing independent classes and having me come and play. And one of the instructors that I was working with started doing these classes at M Italian, and then M Italian hired me to play Thursday nights from 7 to 10 for the month of August. And then fortunately they own the Burntwood Taverns as well, and so they want me to play the month of September, Thursday night 7 to 10 in Crocker Park.
So then you're covered East Side and West Side.
Yes.
And does M Italian have a yoga? Do they do yoga there?
Yeah, they've been doing every now and then on like a Saturday or a Sunday morning. They've been doing live yoga out on the patio. They move all the tables out of there, and it's a pretty random, it's not like a set like third Sunday of the month or anything. It's pretty random, but they do give at least a week and a half notice when they're going to do a class.
Oh, cool. All right. I'll have to look up for that too, because I love M Italian. That's one of my favorite restaurants. Yeah. So I'm just curious. I mean, because your whole profession is just based on creativity. And so, which I'm like trying to get more in touch with my creativity, because mine is so business oriented. Yeah. So how do you stay fresh and inspired and just, always creating?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest piece that helps me create at an optimal level is the freedom of my schedule. So having the ability to stay up until 3 a.m. to make something, knowing that I don't have anywhere to be at 7 a.m. is wonderful, because my creativity comes at totally random times throughout the day. So I think for me, it was super, super important to have ownership over my schedule, which is why I freelance instead of working, in a studio or a production company, because then I'd be locked in somewhere 9 to 5, 8 to 6, whatever, and I would limit myself. So I think for me, it's definitely freedom of schedule and
of shoes. Freedom of shoes.
Freedom of shoes. Yeah, I really like to be barefoot all the time. I like to be in nature. I think that was the other thing I was going to say is it's so important that we relax. And I think our society kind of ingrains in us that if we're not doing something, that we're not being productive and we're not being successful. And truthfully, for me, I found that when I have a really even balance between production and creativity and rest, my creativity is far more powerful and far more efficient and productive when I'm relaxed, when I'm energized. And that's just sitting outside, sleeping.
Right. Sleep. I love sleep. Yeah. I love you, sleep. I know, it's so true. I mean, to take a break, you have to, like, a lot of times you want to feel like you earned it, but it shouldn't be that. It should be, that is my right to take a break whenever I want to take a break. And, and just, I'm starting to force myself more to, like, just let go.
Yeah. It's like breaking the molds. Being more. This is a concept that I learned when I was in college. It's part of the Ignatian Jesuit spirituality, but I think it applies totally transcendent of any type of religious affiliation. It's the concept of being more, not doing more. So I keep that in the back of my mind. Maybe I only create one thing this entire week, but it's going to be far more profound and impactful than me rigidly creating stuff all throughout the week. That's not very important,
I know. I'm finding that the more I'm letting go and just, finding time outside and just, just honoring that downtime, things just come to me, opportunities just come to me. It's like synchronicity at its finest. It's like, it used to be, okay, prospect 2 hours, do this, do that. But now it's like, I'll pick up the phone and my first call, they'll have 4 houses to sell. It's like, okay, great.
That's kind of how the universe works, at least from my perspective, is like when I truly surrender and just life isn't supposed to be so hard all the time. If we're really tapping into what our calling in life is and how that calling can be paired with our gifts and talents, once we align that inner calling with our outer actions, the universe just hands us everything. It's just like the red carpet is rolled out in front of us and all we have to do is follow.
I know, it's crazy. Like I'm on the same path, and I'm absolutely loving it. And so people are messaging. So Shelby Spear says, for anyone interested in yoga, I'm Italian. Dawn Manning is your gal. And then Brittany Laura said, Shelby Spear, how proud are you? And then she said, Karen, or is it pronounced Kahrin?
Kahrin, yeah.
Yeah, Kahrin. So is Shelby, who's Shelby? Is that your?
Shelby is my mother.
Your mama. Hi,
Number one fan. Number one fan.
Of course she is. Hello.
Yeah, she's the best.
So you and I were talking about before we came on that I would love for you to do something for like a video for my team, which is myself and my kids, and telling our story in a really unique, fun way. And so you could do anything. Just if you want to throw out to everybody before we go, anything that they may need, how, branding, what things could you help with?
Yeah, I would say if you have a story, if you're an artist, if you're a business owner, whatever it is that you're doing, if you're trying to push your presence online, digitally with social media marketing, and you need content, whether it's photography, video, let me know, because I love hearing stories. I love hearing stories and telling them the way that is suited for you, not my own vision. So I really love collaborating, and I love making other people come to life. So anything from quick hitting, 30-second promotions for whatever your product or business is, all the way to like 2 to 3 minute films that tell like the full story of whatever, whether it's the history of your company or something really cool that you had happen, or something that's coming up, like an event that's coming up, anything like that.
I'm excited. I'm going to be calling you for our team for sure. I'm so excited. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was so cool to meet you, and we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Everybody have a good rest of the day. Bye.